Sup everyone, I have another vacuum cleaner today, and this is the 360 S8 robot vacuum cleaner. It's actually probably one of the best mid-range, if not slightly entry-level robot vacuums out there. In Malaysia, it retails for 1500 ringgit, and it actually does quite a lot for how much you're paying for it. First off, it's a standard robot vacuum cleaner with like a LiDAR slam sensor, with obstacle avoidance, and using that bump system, that slam system that we all know when it comes to robot vacuum cleaners. But I have to say that this feels a little different compared to the other robot vacuum cleaners that I've used previously. This is simply because sometimes after the S8 learns about your house and your layout using the app, and using the LiDAR slam sensor altogether, it actually does avoid obstacles. And I don't just mean like it relies on the bump to know where it's going. What I'm simply trying to say is, after it learns the layout, it will not even bump. Those LiDAR sensors work really hard here, and it would actually just turn away after it's remembered that there's something in front. So perhaps you'll see that it will just bump once, and later it won't even bump at all. That's not really what a robot vacuum cleaner is all about. It's just meant to clean, but to see that there are strides in obstacle avoidance is a pretty good thing to have. The 3D mapping is pretty comprehensive, I have to say. It's really dependent on an app that you install on your phone. You register everything, bind your phone number, and you're pretty much good to go. There are only two buttons that you need to worry about on top, which is your power button and your pause or recharge button, which you just press or press and hold, and it will just go back to the charging dock when it's done. And this is also pretty smart, because if your robot vacuum just so happens to not have a charge, or it's run out of battery life midway of cleaning, this one goes back to the dock to recharge itself, and then when there's sufficient charge, it will go back to resume the job that it failed to do because of the lack of power. And I mentioned the mapping before. You can save a total of up to 5 maps, and I think that's kind of enough unless you have a huge house. But for me, I live in a condo with just a few rooms that I believe is a total of 4 or 5 rooms that I need to care about when it comes to vacuuming. So this fits my exact needs. This is a relatively quiet robot vacuum, and it has up to 2,700 of PA suction power, which is like a competitive average in the market. And like I said, it's quiet. You don't really hear the loudness of a robot vacuum cleaner. It just goes, that's about it. And in terms of cleaning efficiency, this robot vacuum is pretty much kind of regular. So it uses brush bristles instead of like a molded silicone brush head, and it has its own mop. It has a mopping feature. This is totally detachable, and it's very straightforward in that respect. This lid doesn't pop out at all. How you'll be taking out the dustbin and the water tank is pretty much from the back. So you remove that, and it will have 2 separate compartments. And from here, you just need to pull this out to get to the dustbin. And this itself is the water tank. So this is a 320 milliliter capacity, and this is about, I think, almost 400, like about 360. So you just see this green indicator right here. You peel that open, fill it up with water, and you'll know what to do after that. So slot everything back in this 2-piece critical component into the back. You will hear a confirmation voice tone from your S8, and you're good to go. So for the mopping experience, I'm not gonna say I was impressed, because I'm never impressed with robot vacuums that can mop. So this one basically does the same thing like everyone else. It just sprays a little bit of water and wipes it with that mop cloth, and that's about it. You still can't put soapy water in, because that's going to damage the mechanics, and it's just a very light clean. It's not going to address like thick liquids like sauce or a spill of wine, you'll still need a regular mop to mop that away. But this, just for like the minimal level of mopping cleaning, yeah, sure, it'll work. And yeah, let's talk about the battery life. It claims to have up to 2 hours of maximum charge, and I am inclined to believe that. I have another robot vacuum cleaner that can go up to 3 hours, and I've used that before cumulatively because I forgot to send it back to the dock. But this you won't have an issue, because when it runs out of battery, if you really did vacuum for 2 hours, it will just go back to the dock and charge itself, like I mentioned before. And 360 milliliters for a dustbin is not the biggest out there, and that would imply that you need to empty it out more often than most. So you gotta keep that in mind. In the rest of the package, you actually do get an additional brush head so that, if the one that's pre-installed is, too dirty, or it's just blackened out and you need to give it a wash and there's going to be a bit of downtime, this eliminates the need of downtime, which is very useful. Overall, you will be using the mobile phone app to do everything from giving it commands to saving maps to updates and setting various settings like mop only mode or vacuum and mop mode. So that's pretty expected. These kind of Internet of Things vacuums, I guess, works with a mobile app. And apart from that, you can pair this up with Google and Alexa services. So you can use voice commands to set cleaning times or to command it to clean immediately depending on your situation. So overall, would I recommend this? Well, if you don't have a very high budget, like for real, 1500 is the max that you'll go, then this is a pretty solid deal. For something that cleans very quietly, and for something that just mops, and for a robot vacuum cleaner with a very efficient LiDAR sensor, this is probably one of the best choices out there. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Zen the Geek. I need to clean the house.